Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Next, we're going to cover chapter number 6, which is the overview of GSP technology. This is the outline what we're going to cover in this chapter. First one, understand the needs of GSP. Second one, evaluating the benefit of GSP technology. Third one, we need to compare GSP to other technology. Next, how to avoid, what you need to know about the GSP misconception, and where to install the GSP page. And lastly, the surveying GSP syntax. Next, understanding the need of GSP. There are some disadvantages of servlet, which is it is hard to write and maintain HTML code. Second one, the developer cannot use standard HTML tool to write or to embed the HTML. However, there are some advantages of GSP where it is easy to write HTML and maintain HTML. You can use standard website developer such as Dreamweaver. You can divide up your development team. You can divide the code to others team. Okay, we can see, as we know, the servlet is not easy to embed the HTML. This is the servlet code as we cover in the previous chapter. Okay, this is how to display the hello. You need to embed the HTML inside the Java code. However, on the right hand side, this is the GSP code. So as you can see, most of the code are HTML code, but when we save to .gsp, and we embed the Java code inside the HTML. So as we have covered in the previous chapter, there are two main concepts. The servlet, we write HTML inside the Java code, but for GSP, we write the servlet inside the HTML. Next, comparing the GSP to other technology. If we compare to the .NET and ASP, which is Microsoft product, .NET platform is locked to specific technologies, which is for Microsoft product. However, GSP is portable to multiple operating system and web server. If we compare to PHP, PHP is less widely used language for web developer, but GSP has extensive API for networking, database access, distributed object, which is, we can say GSP a lot of library that can support to develop the advanced development system. Next, we need to avoid the GSP misconception. Most of us forgot that GSP misconception. Forgetting that GSP is server-side technology, where we have two different concepts between client-side and server-side. For GSP, we know GSP is a server-side technology. for the client side, such as HTML and JavaScript. So for the server side, we need a web server, which we have installed. We have guide you how to install the Apache Tomcat. Okay, so most of your code you need to install into a specific location in the server, and we sometimes forget that browser does not support server scripting language. So for example, if you write HTML, you can store it anywhere in your computer and you can just run and display. However, for JSP, even JSP, most of the code are HTML, but it is a server side, so you need to put a specific location of the JSP file into the server. Next, thinking that JSP alone is sufficient. Yes, sometimes we think JSP is most powerful, but JSP is less good for applications that have a variable structures. So when you need to declare a variable, so mostly dynamic data. For the dynamic data, JSP might not sufficient. And sometimes we also think that servlet alone is sufficient. As we know, it is not allowed. It is not always convenient to use servlet for static HTML contents. Allow divide and conquer of the task between Java developer and web's development. So it's not easy to divide the code between your team's members. Okay, this is the specific location that you need to put your JSP page. For example, you have any file project as we covered in the previous chapter. We have created several folder. Okay, this is the specific folder that you need to put your servlet. Okay, we have web-inf. However, for JSP, you just need outside of that folder, so just inside any project that have you created. Okay, next, JSP syntax. So there are several syntax that we're going to cover in the following chapter. First one, JSP scriptlet, which is we're going to cover in next chapter. This the code. This is the text for scriptlet. You have open, percentage, and Java statement, and close. Next, JSP expression. So in order to verify this is the expression, you need to have an equal text. Okay, next is JSP declaration. We're also going to cover in the following chapter. So how to declare? We declare a variable, for example. Okay, you need to have this symbol. Next, JSP directive. For JSP directive, you need to have @signs. Okay, which we're going to cover in detail in chapter number 9. And JSP action. Okay, JSP action we're going to cover in detail in chapter number 9.